Hello everyone, I'm Julie. Come join me in the creative design team. Today we are sharing creative ways to use flip flaps. For my project, I decided to use this beautiful paper collection called Summer Vibes. I'll also be using a variety of flip flap sizes, from 4x6s to 3x3s, and then this really large 6x12 flip flap. We're going to start with a double page layout that holds 8 photos. Then, by adding flip flaps, I'm going to add an additional 12 pictures. So this one double page layout will hold a total of 20 of your fondest summer memories. This double page layout was made using this how-to book. So here I'm showing you the left side, and then here in the back of the book I'm showing you the right side that I used. Sometimes when I get designer's block, I reach out for my book and I am pleasantly surprised every single time. I also have a few Cricut cuts for this project, and you can find the link below. Next up here, we're going to line up our photo mats. I like to start at the bottom and leave equal distance. So I center it, and then I leave the same amount of distance at the bottom, and then I follow through with the top photo mat. So I do the same thing. I center it across the pattern paper, and then I leave equal distance at the top, and then I finish off with the center mat. I just eyeball that, and you don't even need a ruler. So let's start playing with these flip flaps. So first up here, I'm going to use the flip flap in a probably non-conventional way. The flip flap themselves are like little pockets, and when you fold them over, that's what holds your picture inside. But some people don't like to see the sticky flap. So for this application, I'm actually going to use it on the reverse side, and I'm going to sneak my flap at the back of my photo mat. Now this photo mat was cut at 6 1/8 by 8 1/8, and it gives you the proper distance to add 3 4x6 photo mats, or flip flaps, and they're going to have this cascading effect. I'm going to add the first one at the top, and then I'm going to add the second one in the center, which is like down 2 inches or so. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to hide my flap at the back of my photo mat. I'm going to make sure to line everything up. I also like to kind of burnish them in so that they don't come apart, but they are really, really sticky. So here it goes. The last one is going down. I'm going to sneak that flap at the back of my photo mat, and I'm going to have 3 additional places to place photo, and it's going to hide my 5x7 picture. I decided that I wanted to pop the entire photo mat. Now you can use 3D foam tape, but here I'm using fun foam, and I'm just going to glue it down on the back of the entire mat. I just find that sometimes when you've got a picture and then flip flaps on top, it gets a little bit heavy, so by putting something a little bit more sturdy at the back to pop it, it helps. So that's why I use that fun foam. I'm going to jump over right now to the right hand side because that's the easier one to put together as far as flip flaps. So here you see me adhering down that really pretty pattern, and then I've got this nice square that was from the design book that I pulled out, and I'm going to add a 6x12 flip flap to this layout. Now I thought it would be fun to duplicate that square that you have on the back and mimic it on the front, so when you open that flip flap, you'll have a continuity, if you want, of that design element. So I thought that that was pretty cool. And again, we're adding more pictures to our layout. So I'm just going to add my 4x4 pictures, and I'm going to use some of those Cricut cuts that I mentioned below. Another thing that I do like to do is that I don't tack down my larger pattern papers or cardstock, because sometimes I need to lift them, as you saw me doing there, and it just makes it easier on myself. I'm going to pull from the sticker sheet, and some stickers you just know, oh, this has to go there, like there's no other place for it to go on this layout, so I just pull those out, and you'll see a little bit later on that I'm going to add quite a few more. I'm going to pull off my little cardstock here, and I'm going to add my little sun. And I did bring out my other page because I wanted to make sure I was positioning them kind of like in a triangle formation, and they were distributed across the double layout. So here I'm going to bring out my really big and bold title, and if you see here, I did cut some of that pattern paper because I wanted my summer to pop off the page. Now there's nothing wrong with using white. Sometimes we just think, oh, I can't just use a white background, but you know what? For this paper collection, the white background is absolutely stunning. So inside my photo mat, or I keep calling them photo mats, inside my flip flap, I'm going to add 4x6 pictures, and I'm just going to add a little bit of a design element by using the zip strip. So this is really fast, really easy, and look at the pop that it gives those two pictures, and it was really fast. So here I'm going to add my next title, which is Vibes. I kind of mixed it all up together, and I just liked how it turned out. And I'm going to add my very bold title on the side of the page. So here you see me adding just some liquid glue at the top of each of those letters, and I'm not putting a lot because I want to make sure that I can kind of position it across the page. So I'm going to flip that over, and I'm just going to move them ever so slightly until they are perfectly aligned with the entire length of that page. So there you have it. Our layout is almost done. So I did want to add a couple more flowers. For people that know me, they know I love flowers, but this pattern paper to me was a little bit overbearing with everything else I had going on. So I decided to fussy cut a few of those flowers and add them to my 3x3 flip flaps. And I really, really like the way that that turned out. And here you see me kind of looking again at my sticker sheet, and I'm just going to pull the ones that I feel that that's where they have to go. I like to use my anti-static pouch to unsticky them, and then my husband always laughs at me because then I add more glue and more pop dots, and he always wonders, why do you unsticky them if you're going to add glue? But the reason why I did it here is because I don't have my picture, and once I have my picture, I'm just going to slap that one down. So if you don't want to fussy cut those flowers, you can use that pattern paper. It's actually really pretty, but I really like the way that it turned out with seeing a little bit of that white element. I'm just going to keep on picking from my sticker sheet to further embellish my page, and we're almost done this right hand side here, or the left hand side actually I should say. I am going to cut a few of these to go inside the flip flaps, and then when they're closed it's going to kind of cover up that 5x7 picture. So we're going to start with the right hand layout as far as putting the flip flaps on the pages, because I felt that this was the easiest place to start. This is a nice big flip flap. I find it easier to miter my corners, and that's something that I just do. It's a preference. And then make sure that everything is nice and tacked down. Place that inside your flip flap. Make sure that it's all the way down to the bottom. Fold that over, and then I use the stitching on the page protector to line up my flip flap. So it makes it much easier every time. So I'm going to burnish that inside, and there you have it. This is the right hand side, and we just added a whole bunch of pictures. So for this side here, I know it's going to be a little bit scary, but we are actually going to cut our page protector. So first thing you have to do is make sure that you're all the way down at the bottom. I'm going to add my 3x3 flip flaps right on the top of my page protector, and then those other ones are kind of stuck inside my page protector and I can't get to them. So what I like to do is I pull out my ruler and I pull out my bone folder, and right on the edge of that mat I'm just going to make a line. I'm not sure if you can see it here, but I've actually framed out where I'm going to cut. And here I'm using just a piece of cardboard. I get those when I print my pictures. So I'm going to then make sure it's all the way at the bottom, and I'm going to use my X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut that window open. I know it's scary for the first time, but it is such an awesome effect when you can open your flip flaps, because otherwise what's the point, right? So I'm going to pull that out and I am going to slide my base page, and I'll have access to all of those flaps right there at the front. Now, because I cut that right on the frame, once I put that in, I can sneak that underneath and it's perfect. Then I can just open my flaps and we're ready to go. So I'm going to pull from that sticker sheet, and I'm also going to use some of those really neat acrylic shapes that come with this paper collection, and I'm going to further embellish this layout. I'm showing you here just a few elements that I added, some of those acrylic shapes, and let's go through all of those flaps. Now you can see that we've taken an 8 photo placement layout and we've got now 20 places to place pictures. I added a few white threads at the bottom and I tied them around my title, and this element I really like. When you flip that over, it continues on that same layout. Now, full disclosure here, this was not the project I had in mind when I started this video. I was waiting on some pictures. So next up, you're going to have a bonus because my pictures came in on that last day, and I decided I absolutely have to show you what I had in mind originally. So let's take a look at project number 2. This is a single page layout, and I wanted to use this really awesome picture. So photo credit goes to my husband and his drone, and we were out camping and he took this really beautiful scenic picture. So I actually got that done in an 8 by 10, and then I placed all of those flip flaps in the center of my layout, and I'm actually going to cut this beautiful picture, and it's going to form kind of like a puzzle. So I'm going to cut this down 4 inch all the way across, and then I'm going to move that over and I'm going to cut that down at 3, because that first flip flap is a 3 by 4 and then the next one is a 6 by 4. So I'm going to repeat that process with the other side, and there you have it. So this is the back of the page, and then right on top I'm going to add this beautiful scenery, and it's all been cut up in those flip flaps. So I thought that was my original plan, so I thought I would share it with you here. So on the center here, I'm just going to add the fern cardstock. I'm going to mat my photos with Glacier, and the trick here is that you want to make sure that picture at the back is hidden by the flip flap. And I also wanted to add quite a bit of a journaling to this layout, so I'm going to create my own journaling spots. So I'm going to pull out one of my favorite stamp set. You've seen me use it before. I just find that automatically everything looks really nice. And I'm going to pull this one out. Oh my gosh, this one is so old. It's called Journaling Jots. I don't know, for those of you who've been around with Close to My Heart and you held on to it, this is the one that I used, and you'll see why. It's so easy to line it up. So I'm stamping all of those lines with fern, and then my little blot of ink there is done with Glacier ink. So here I'm starting, as you can see, right at the bottom, and I'm just lining it up, and I'm going all the way across to the top. And I thought, oh, I might as well add a little bit more element, and there you have it. Like, they match perfectly this layout, and I'll be able to journal all about that week we went camping. So we're going to add those flip flap to the front of the page. So I'm just going to glue those down, and I want to make sure that I'm covering that entire picture. So I'm just going to line it up, and again, that fern cardstock piece was sized perfectly so that you can just use it as a guide and lay down all of your pieces. And there you have it. You have this beautiful scenery, and when you open it up, you've got pictures inside, and there's going to be a lot of personal journaling. I added a few elements to that Cricut Design Space file, so don't forget to grab it. It's down, link below in the description box. And now I'm just going to add, oh wait, but before I put that in, aren't those little flip-flops awesome on that picture? I really like how they turned out. So next up here is Katie. I've linked her video next. Be sure to watch all of the videos from the Creative Design Team members. All of their links are posted in the description box below. So take out your flip flaps, have fun with them. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to click the subscribe button and click that notification bell to see more projects. If you'd like to see more projects from the Creative Design Team, click this link right here.